Hello YouTube, Ken Hale here with another Black Desert Online video for you. I'm sorry for the perhaps clickbait title. If you're expecting me to show you a method on how to make money in video, you're free to click out of the video right now and go watch something else, because that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about a topic that is very important, a concept that is very important for anybody who's trying to make money in this game and any other game really. And what opportunity cost really refers to is the idea that anything that you choose to do, whatever activity you choose to use to make money in video, could you be making more money doing something else? And that's going to be different for everybody. It depends on where you are in the game, right? And how much money you can make using different activities at your gear level and your skill level, at your knowledge level. The opportunity cost deals with the most limited resource that we have, which is time. Unfortunately, we can only do one thing at a time and only have so many hours in a day and so many hours that you can play in a day. And to go out to the point here, I'm going to start with an example that I think most people who have been playing this game for a while know, and that is enhancing your gear. And if you watch most enhancing guides, they will suggest, if probably at this point all enhancing guides, because they all kind of copy each other, they will suggest for new players to go to Valia and use those Rebalath armor or militia weapons to get your gear, your fail stacks up to 20, and then use other things to go in and click up your up to 40 or whatever, however many fail stacks that you need. Now when it comes to getting to those plus 20 fail stacks, it should be fairly easy. However, you are, of course, using your resources and your money in the process of making those fail stacks, right? They don't come free. You're using Blackstones, you're using money to repair, and you're using more Reblasts to repair the gear that you are trying to enhance to build the fail stacks on. However, you're also spending time, right? Every click, you can maybe click once every second and a half or something like that, maybe once every second. But every time you're building your fail stack, you're going to be wasting at least 20 seconds if you're lucky. And if you're unlucky like me, I would say that about 20 to 30% of the time that I'm building a 20 stack, I fail and I have to restart the process, right? So at that point, you spend even more time, and then you gotta go to the blacksmith and repair, and then you gotta go to the guy at the church to level it down. So a lot of people who are enhancing and they calculate the cost of enhancing, they don't take into account on the time they're wasting actually building those stacks. They just say, okay, so I'm spending 20 blackstones and some reblast to repair to get a fail stack. This is how much it costs. Totally ignoring the time they took them to go buy all those things and gather the materials and all the fails. So now you're thinking, well, then what is the option? I mean, this is definitely the cheapest way to do it. Right? There's no other better way to do it. Well, that's not necessarily true, because think of all those, let's say 20 seconds that you wasted making that 20 stack, right? If you're talking about a person who can grind 100 mil an hour in a place, let's say like Histria or Akhman, I don't know where you're grinding, but if you can make 1 million an hour or live skilling, you can get someplace you can get the meat if your mastery is high enough. Every second that you waste there clicking those reblaths, you could be making almost 30k in silver every second, right? So every second you're clicking, you're actually wasting 28,000 silver per click. So depending on how much money you're making every second, it might be worth for you to actually buy those dragon fossils. You can get 30 of them to get a plus 20 fail stack, and in Korea 30 of them will cost you about 9 mil. So you're paying 9 mil for a plus 20 fail stack. Now you may think 9 mil, I can make my fail stack for less than 5 mil. And I gotta tell you, how much money you make in an hour. Right? If you're a new player who's just starting enhancing and you're not making 100 mil an hour, then yeah, sure, by all means go to Valley and smack your Blackstone into a Rebalath until you lose your mind. But if you're an experienced player who are making 100 mil or more, it might be better off spending that time they'll be spending clicking, smashing blackstones into your Rebalath or militia gear, grinding or doing some other life skill activity that will grant you the money that you can then go and spend on those fossils. And it also means that you might be able to actually grind in Drigan areas and collect those fossils and count those fossils as resources towards your enhancing, right? So you gotta always keep in mind how much money you're making or you could be making other places, and the enhancing, I think, is the easiest way of seeing and comparing that. If you're making 100 mil or more or something close to that, it might be beneficial for you to just simply buy something like the dragon fossils, or you can even buy plus 15 or pry green gear from the marketplace. In Korea you can buy plus 15 green gear in the marketplace for about 7 to 8 mil. And then you could melt those or extract the fail stacks plus 17 for plus 15 gear, and then just smack 3 blackstones into it and get a plus 20 within seconds. Right, so there are many ways you can save time when you're enhancing, and time is of course money. And if you're making 28,000 silver per second, then that money, that time that you'll be spending smashing things in Velia can really cost you a lot of opportunity money that you could be making. Another easy example to see this is the idea of farming to get your own resources, your own onions or garlics or black pepper or whatever you use for your cooking, right? And I'm guilty of this because I actually plant my own garlic and my own onions for my cooking, for my imperial cooking. But I'm pretty sure that it would actually be cheaper for me to simply buy the onions from the marketplace and just cook it. Now, the money that I'm spending farming every day, 3 or 4 times a day, depending on how much time I have to spend, right? I could be using that time to do something else like grinding. The other example here that I want to finish the video with is the idea of grinding areas, right? People love to comment and discuss what the best grinding spots are, and you always see people always talking about the best places to grind to make money and things like that, and you see people talking about Ackman or Histria or Star's End, right? Those are probably the top 3. People always forget the travel time that it takes to get to those places, or how crowded those places are, right? You might have to fight for it. And one clear example is this grinding spot that was very popular a few years back in BDO. I don't think it's as popular anymore, which was a place called the Pirate Island. People refer to it as Pirate Island. But I know Pirate Island is of course an island, which means it's in the middle of nowhere. You gotta travel from Velia. If your character does not live in Velia, you have to get to Velia, and that's even more travel time, right? And people often, when they calculated those money per hours or XP per hours numbers for Pirate Island, they often forgot to calculate the travel time that it took them not only to get to the island but also to come back to the island. Not only that, but since it was also a very popular spot, it was often also contested. You had to fight with other people. There'll be other people there, so you have to swap channels and keep swapping channels if you don't want to PvP until you found an empty area that you can go and grind, right? And all those things add wait time that you could be grinding in perhaps a less popular area, less top tier area, and you'd be making perhaps more money than you would be grinding in a low tier area. And you can clearly see this in the season server, which is where I've been mostly playing these days. Like if you go to Poly Forest in the season server, good luck finding an empty area. All the rotations in Poly they've ever seen, they never thought you would want to grind in, are occupied by people. And Fadus habitat is also occupied and pretty much everywhere. So I ended up going to the other side of the world in Valencia, and even places like sulfur mines can be crowded these days. But the main point is, at least in sulfur mines, I'm more likely to find an empty area, right? And a place that nobody would ever think to grind in is sulfur mines, right? But I was able to make some decent money there because, or at least in comparison to what I'll be making in a place like Mansion, which is probably gonna have, if I go there right now on a Sunday night in Korea, there's probably gonna be 10 people running around each other and grinding around each other, trying to fight for those few spawns, right? So if you're always going for what people are telling you to do and going for the most popular, crowded, top tier spots, you might end up wasting time. And like I said, time is money, and your opportunity, you might have a better opportunity to make money in a different area in the game. So it goes back to the whole opportunity cost. How much money can you make in Manshams if there's 3 other people there stealing your mobs? Maybe you could be making more money in Fadus, where you can find an empty area on the regular servers. Then you can have the whole area just for yourself, right? And speaking of Fadus, I'll use another example here of opportunity cost, which is something that I thought about a couple times, and maybe some of you thought about it as well, which is the idea of going to an area that drops actual gear. Say, for example, Gahaz, right? Gahaz, you can make pretty good money and pretty good XP, and drops gear, or Fadus, or a place like Kadris, right? And you might have thought, so why not, instead of going to Velia and buying Reblath, why don't I just go to an area that will give me gear as drops, and I can use those to fail stack? It will be free to get the weapons that you're getting as loot and enhance them, but you could also be selling those weapons, right, and buying multiple pieces of Reblath or militia gear in Velia, which then you could use to enhance even more gear. Right, so when you're always thinking about going somewhere and saving money, right, and that goes back to the farming thing that I was talking about a little bit ago, right? I could be using instead of getting my own onions, I could be using my farming maybe for something more profitable, or my contribution points for something more profitable, and then just buying the onions from the market. Same thing with the gear that you'd be getting from a grinding spot, right? If you go to grinding Gahaz and you get 1,000 Kreia weapons or Rosar, I don't remember exactly what drops there anymore. But regardless, instead of enhancing those weapons, right, you could sell them on the market, or melt them and sell whatever shards and other materials you get from them to the market, and then turn the profit into Reblath. And that's why opportunity cost is something that's easy to forget, because you look at opportunities all the time in game to make money. And you might think, I can save some money here by going there and grinding the materials myself and harvesting the materials myself and farming the materials myself. But in the end, you're actually spending a lot of time there that you could be spending elsewhere and getting a lot more profit in that way, right? So I think I gave you some good examples here on how you can look at it and hopefully prepare you for your next attempt of making money. I hope I was able to give you a good idea on what opportunity cost is if you really didn't know. If you have any more examples that you want to drop down in the comments below, feel free to do so. If you want, if you disagree with some of the examples that I gave you here, if you want to argue that reblathing your failed stacks is always better, or Pirate Island was always a fantastic place, or the farming for your own onions is always the best idea, I'm open to change my mind. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But if you liked the video and thought it was informative, I would appreciate if you could hit the like button. And if you want to see more video content from me, don't forget to subscribe. Also, come join our Twitch stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 o'clock Korean Standard Time. And also join our Discord community. Links for all the stuff down below. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. And we'll see you guys on the next one on Wednesday for the next patch notes. All right, take care.